In April of 1986, in the then Soviet-controlled Ukraine, a nuclear disaster demonstrated to the world the effects of nuclear power outside of military applications. The Chernobyl incident was the malfunction of a nuclear reactor at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, known as Reactor Number 4, located 12 miles south of the border of Belarus and 81 miles north of the city of Kiev, Ukraine. The disaster caused 400 times more radioactive material released into the atmosphere compared to the radioactive material released by the bombings at Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined. This led to the mass evacuation of the region, as well as one of the most important responses by the world's governments in an attempt to help secure and contain the area from further radioactive bombardment. After the dust had settled, all that remained were the remnants of an era lost to time, frozen in place. Even to this day there are restrictions on where you can visit, with most of the areas around Chernobyl being out of bounds. Incredibly, decades later, various stories have been told about mysterious creatures seen in and around the area. One of the most interesting stories is that of the Blackbird of Chernobyl. After the encounters witnessed in the town of Point Pleasant back in 1966 to 1967, the Mothman would not return for another couple of decades, in which reported sightings of the creature were seen throughout the Soviet Union, but concentrated around the town of Pripyat and at the Chernobyl power plant. There were an overwhelming number of reports in the region, and even witness accounts for those that worked at the power plants that appeared to be bothered by the appearance of the creature. According to the residents of the town of Pripyat, there were a number of reports and claims of a mysterious winged creature often seen flying over the town late at night, and this was on a variety of different occasions. However, in the case of the workers at the Chernobyl power plant, there appear to be much more alarming reports that were provided. In the months shortly following the Chernobyl incident on the 26th of April back in 1986, the workers at the plant noticed the same creature reported throughout the town of Pripyat hovering above the plant, and sometimes even resting on the larger towers and areas of construction. What grew more perplexing for the workers were the reported incidents of which people claimed to have experienced harrowing nightmares, and these always involved a creature that would manifest into threatening phone calls of the creature calling them all throughout the night. Many residents of Pripyat and workers at the Chernobyl power plant often described the creature as resembling the shape of a man, with wings and glowing red eyes. This creature would later be referred to as the Blackbird of Chernobyl, and similar to the cases of Point Pleasant, would cease to exist in the region shortly after the Chernobyl incident. The Chernobyl incident is known worldwide as one of the largest tragedies, and potentially the most environmentally damaging of its time. Although it appeared that the governments of the world were ready and prepared when it occurred, the event still saw more than 50,000 square miles of land contaminated with radioactive fallout, and being made completely unusable for the foreseeable future. The site of the town of Pripyat and Chernobyl will not be habitable for another 20,000 years. It could very well be that the Mothman was warning us of an impending doom that could have left a much larger amount of land completely uninhabitable for much longer. It's not just this creature that residents couldn't explain. In the wake of the events that unfolded, various residents and workers would go into detail that they saw mysterious unidentified flying objects, and these could be seen hovering above the power plant. Those who have looked into these cases have said that UFOs seem to have an interest in our missiles and other highly sensitive areas not accessible by the general public. These unidentified crafts seem to be able to make their way into secure airspaces without being detected, and then suddenly disappear before military planes can get in and investigate. Mikhail Varasky, who was working for the Radiation Control Department, said on the same day as the disaster he and several other colleagues would witness a mysterious craft hovering above Reactor Number 4, almost as if inspecting it. His story isn't very well known, but he details his encounter with UFOs guessed from the future. He said the following: "We saw a ball of fire, and it was slowly flying in the sky. I think the ball was 6 or 8 meters in diameter. Then we saw 2 rays of crimson light stretching towards the 4th unit. The object was some 300 meters from the reactor. The event lasted for around 3 minutes. The lights of the object went out and it flew away in the northwestern direction." End quote. Incredibly, he goes on to detail that the radiation levels in the area dropped, going on to say the following. "The UFO brought the radiation levels down. The level was decreased almost 4 times. This probably prevented a nuclear blast." End quote. This has caused UFO researchers to suggest that this craft was actually trying to help us. Various military personnel have come forward and said that when tests are being carried out, it's not uncommon to see UFOs in the region, going on to say that it's almost like they're watching what we're doing. Another thing that people have allegedly seen in and around Reactor number 4 is that of shadow people. Shadow people are defined as supernatural shadow-like humanoid figures that, according to believers, are seen flickering on walls and ceilings in the viewer's peripheral vision. Shadow people are said to be entities of the underworld, but those who have experienced them have said they're not sure whether they're evil, helpful, or just there. Scientists have tried to offer other explanations for the phenomena. For example, some researchers conclude that seeing shadow figures are simply symptoms of sleep paralysis or deprivation, and others have noted that those taking medicine are more likely to experience these sorts of hallucinations. Alternatively, they can simply be the mind playing tricks on somebody who's experienced a heightened sense of alert. For example, when you're walking down a dark alley at night. However, some people are convinced that shadow people are actually apparitions of those that have passed on. They think that the reason they're in shadow form is because we on Earth can't clearly see them, and therefore find it hard to see these figures. Others have suggested that these entities are often seen in places that have seen hard times. The Chernobyl incident affected many people, and some researchers have said that some of these people may not have moved on from this area, and can still be seen wandering the region looking for answers. So what do you make of these interesting stories? What do you think the Blackbird was? Do you think it's linked to the Mothman? And what do you make of the UFO that allegedly brought down the radiation levels in the region? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.